President Trump had a personal conflict of interest in the recent attack launched against the Syrian government. So look at this here from Raw Story. Donald Trump personally profited from missile maker Raytheon's stock jump after his Syria attack. So they're speaking about a Business Insider article that reported in 2015 that Raytheon is in his portfolio. Now, we don't know the exact amount of money he has invested in Raytheon, but I believe it's up to $33 million or maybe even more in terms of, the portfolio that has Raytheon as one of the companies that he's invested in. It's worth about $33 million, give or take. There's like a range that they give. So that means they used, I believe the exact number is 59 Tomahawk missiles that are made by Raytheon. They're a couple $1,000,000 a piece, and there was a giant stock jump after the initial reports of the attack against the Syrian government because they named the exact missile that was used, Tomahawk missiles, made by Raytheon. So there's a big stock jump after the attack, and then what that means is Donald Trump made probably a decent amount of money because he decided, hey, we're going to use these weapons and we're going to launch an attack, and hey, everybody wins. The military-industrial complex is happy. Officials in the government, in the neocon deep state, are happy. People that are part of the so-called defense contractors are happy. Donald Trump is happy because he gets to launch his macho man war and also make money in the process. I don't understand for the life of me how this isn't, obviously illegal. How is that not... Really? So that let's say in a hypothetical world that would be awesome, I'm president, and I decide, we're going to do single payer, because that's what I'm in favor of. We're going to do single payer. But before I do single payer, I decide I'm going to personally invest my own money in a company that is going to lead the single payer effort, the reform effort, and implement, the necessary changes in our healthcare system. Could you imagine if it was, let's say for whatever reason, Blue Cross Blue Shield is the most organized and the most effective as a private company to then be able to transition to a single payer system. And some of the people who are in management positions in Blue Cross Blue Shield end up leading the transition. So I invest in them, and then they do that, and then they get rich as a result, and then I get rich as a result. I wouldn't do that just to avoid the appearance of corruption. Never mind the fact that that's actual corruption. But Trump is like, for fucking appearance of it, I don't give a fuck about the appearance of it. I care about making the money. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to make direct decisions that are going to make myself rich. And this is the problem, man. So Trump made a big deal about how he said he wasn't taking any, money. He was self-financing his campaign. That's just not true. He took a lot of money from various financial institutions, like every politician does, or almost every politician does. But he did end up raising less money from Wall Street, for example, than Hillary Clinton did. But what you didn't know is, number one, he did raise money from Wall Street, again, just not as much as Hillary Clinton. But furthermore, he actually had personal debt worth over $1 billion to different financial institutions on Wall Street. His debt was mostly held by Wall Street. So what happens in that situation? That's probably even worse than Hillary's thing, where she's, bought via campaign contributions and contributions to the Clinton Foundation. With Hillary, there's multiple levels of corruption, because it's the Clinton Foundation, it's campaign contributions, it's super PACs. With Trump, personal debt is probably his biggest form of corruption, in the sense that now next time, because they renegotiate this debt all the time. So now when he's at those meetings with those big banks, they get to say, hey, look, man, maybe we wipe your debt slate clean if we get, I don't know, maybe a nice hefty corporate welfare check every year. We're allowed to use this special corporate tax haven, and we can keep our money there. We get deregulation that affects our industry specifically, whatever it might be. So now they have leverage over him, because it's not even just campaign contributions. It's direct debt, personal debt that they hold of his. So, and this is a similar thing, where this was the problem with Trump's Health and Human Services Secretary, Tom Price. he personally invested $300,000 in healthcare and health insurance companies, and then he turned around and was proposing legislation and voting on legislation that directly affected the stock prices of the companies he just invested in. That's why Preet Bharara, who was fired by Trump, shock, shock, that's what he was working on. He was working on a case against Tom Price because Tom, even though we have super lax, campaign finance laws, it turns out he actually may have just done a corrupt deal that's still illegal. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to do something that's like actually violates the law in the U.S. when it comes to money and politics, because the rules are so lax. But these guys still violate it. And it looks like Trump's violating it here, but will there be consequences? Doubt it. I mean, he's got investments in, 15 different countries? He outsources virtually all of his jobs, even though he pretends like he's against outsourcing. So that seems to me to be a clear violation of the emoluments clause, that in 15 different countries, he has his businesses. They're still there. They're making money. And so now those governments have an incentive and he has an incentive to bias policy in favor of the countries where he's got business. He registered 8 new businesses in Saudi Arabia when he was on the campaign trail. You're telling me there's not a giant conflict of interest? It doesn't matter what Saudi Arabia does. They can do anything. They're bombing the pants off of Yemen right now, killing civilians, blockading the country. 17 million people are starving to death. Is Trump going to do anything? He's not going to do shit. Why? Well, one of the reasons is he's got 8 of his own businesses there that he just registered during the campaign. How is any of this legal, man? Well, it might not be, but he still might get away with it. We need like a revolution of new campaign finance laws in the U.S. because we don't take that seriously at all. And they use the bullshit argument of hiding behind the First Amendment as if that's actually what the First Amendment is intended to do. My ass cheeks, that's what it's intended to do. If the First Amendment was really to be interpreted like that, money equals speech when it comes to the political realm. Money equals speech. Well, look, you're making the argument, not me. So if money equals speech, why isn't crystal meth legal? Hey, I'm not buying crystal meth to smoke it. I'm just expressing with speech that I like it. Because money is speech. Hey, I'm giving you speech, and you're giving me crystal meth. How come prostitution isn't legal? Look, I'm just speaking about how much I love blowjobs. That's not illegal. I'm giving speech to this nice woman I found on the corner about how much I love blowjobs. You can't criminalize that. But again, see, when it comes to regular people, they know obviously money doesn't equal speech. What are you, crazy? Why not murder for hire? I'm not paying for a murder. I'm expressing with speech how I'm okay with murder of this one specific person that did something bad to me. I'm allowed to talk about that. I'm allowed to say, with somebody in the privacy of my own home, hey, man, Ted should be murdered. Fuck that guy. You're allowed to say that. So it's obvious that argument's ridiculous. But when it comes to politics, it's used and it's the law, basically. The Constitution has been interpreted that way. That, hey, it's okay. Money is speech, and therefore politicians get to take campaign contributions and do the bidding of those corporations, and everything's all hunky-dory. I don't see what the problem is. What are you mad about, you stupid lib? But now we have a whole nother level of it where the president is benefiting financially from launching Tomahawk missile attacks because Raytheon makes the missiles.